tuned in to the 411 for your fantasy football with your host, Autumn Wind Williams.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Autumn Wind Williams. You're now tuned into the 411 for your fantasy football. We are now inside of week 5 of the 2020 XFL season on Draftkings for DFS lineups. You can follow me on Twitter at the 411DFS. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment below picks that you're considering on playing as well. Let's help each other out. I mean, the lineup I provided you guys last week did not do that great, starting off with Landry Jones. 3 interceptions the first quarter. And he got a knee injury. And I told you guys for quite a while, I think he was still injured because of the funny ways he was running in, week 2? When he was trying to be a little bit mobile, and he did not look like he had any coordination when he was running. I knew it was something going on with that knee, but I just thought, my gut feeling had me thinking that he would go out there and at least compete against the Houston Roughnecks, but it did not happen. It did not happen. A lot of stuff going on last week. The reporter in the Vipers game mentioned that each team get their own game ball and they can utilize it any way that they want. And then he held the game ball to his chest and squeezed it. And we realized that the Vipers were playing with a deflated football. So it looked like deflated footballs are allowed in the NFL. Well, the XFL, not the NFL. Tom Brady would tell you about that. So they're very lenient with a lot of things I see in the XFL right now, and that's what's separating them from being compared to the NFL. The brand different set of rules, the sideline interviews that some people don't like. I like it. I like it a lot. I like the interaction, the transparency that they have going on. You hear them making play calls, and I've been trying to memorize what each play call means, whether it's a run or a pass to a certain receiver, to probably help us out later on when we're picking lineups, to see who's getting those targets thrown to them or handoffs at certain points of the game. But it's kind of really hard to do. You hear jiggle jiggle Frank Bailey 45 West Coast and stuff like that, and you're like, what the hell is that, man? I don't know how these players memorize these plays, but it's quite interesting. But yeah, deflated football. So I would never thought the XFL had approved that. Also, we saw Cardero Jones throwing his receiver DeAndre Tompkins under the bus. He said it while he was mic'd up on the field that he ain't ready. And these guys are roommates too. So I just wonder what's going on inside of that hotel room after the game. Are they arguing? Are they working things out for a better game plan, or what's going to happen moving forward? But man, just to throw your roommate under the bus like that on national TV, that was just unbelievable. And here we go. I've been meaning to mention this every single week I do the video. Who is that big booty referee? I mean, I'll be waiting for a penalty flag just to see that big luscious booty. You guys know her name? Let me know. Did she have a Twitter account? I'm gonna slide in them DMs. Yeah. But we also saw Hal Mummy sitting back, looking like Jerry Springer, with an NX card talking about air raids. And I don't think he had that much air raids going on, because if he did, well, he probably had air raids going on, but it was going to the wrong jerseys. 3 interceptions by Landry Jones, like I said. And then he got ran over by Lance Dunbar. But he's a G. He stayed out there the rest of the game with a broken leg. He didn't go see emergency attention till after the game, knowing that his leg was possibly broken. But he stood there, took it like a G. Like I said, looking like Jerry Springer with the hairdo. Next game, look at him. But he's supposed to be in the booth from now on to avoid sideline hits. and make sure that his leg is getting back to being healed, where he can walk on the sideline if he chooses to. The Vipers running the ball was unbelievable. Um, I did not think they was going to have that good of a running attack. And, their O-line, man, they took care of the guys, Patrick and Smith, and they weren't going down on the first hit. That's what I like. They stayed up, kept on trying to get more yards out while they were running down the field. But one disappointment to me that messed up one of my lineups where I was about to cash big is Mikael McKay. I mean, he already got a touchdown. He could have got another touchdown. But he missed a wide open pass. I mean, nobody around him. I think he was like at the 20 or 30 yard line where he could have caught that ball and run it in with nobody stopping him. And he just dropped it. My heart dropped after that. Because I had a little sweat going on. And then he just dropped that ball for a second touchdown he could have got. McKay is on my ish list. All right, you guys, that's enough for flashing back to week 4. Let's go to the XFL injury report. I noticed on their injury report, on their website too, they not only have like an injury report through the week, they also have a tab when you go to the news for inactives. So right before game lock, that's where I advise you guys to go to at least an hour before lock or 30 minutes before lock, just so you can be in the know. I will be posting it on Twitter, copy and pasting whatever I can do under this video on the comments or my Twitter account. So those are 3 different avenues you can check for inactives. All right, for as the injury report for week 5, that what we have so far: Seattle, Kason Williams, wide receiver, out with a quad. Marcel Frazier, wide receiver, he has a hip, but he's probable. Houston, wide receiver Sammy Coates, he's out with a hamstring. D'Angelo Henderson, as usual, he did not participate in practice Friday. It looked like he was coming back, but I guess ish happens. D'Angelo Henderson will be out again. I don't think he played one game this season. Khalil Lewis, this is one to keep an eye on. He has a groin right now. Wide receiver for the Houston Roughnecks. He was limited at practice. He's currently questionable. Moving down to New York Guardians. E.J. Bibbs, tight end. He was full participation, so he's probable with a knee. Austin Duke, wide receiver. He was full practice, probable with an ankle. Matt McGlowan, Mr. Injured thorax, or just pissed off for 2 weeks straight. He sat in the booth all alone last week watching his team play on the field. To me, I think to show some kind of leadership, he should have been on that sideline, supporting the backup quarterback, the rest of his teammates. But Matt McGlowan just got a chip on his shoulder, man. I don't know what it is. It's just something about this guy that he's not happy with anything. But he is currently probable. And so, they might be doing a quarterback by committee. He was full participation in practice. Hold on, you guys. Need some water. Okay, Landry Jones, as we know from Dallas, he did not participate, obviously, because he's out with the knee. Armonte Edwards, wide receiver, limited practice. He's questionable with the hip. Donald Parham, he had a handful of participation. Tight end from the Dallas Renegades. He is definitely probable for the game for tomorrow. Sunday, the Battlehawks has 3 different guys that's on the injury report, and they're all running backs. You'll see what I'm going to do about that. St. Louis Battlehawks, Sherman Beatty, I haven't seen him play at all. He did not practice. He's a running back for the Battlehawks, as I said. Other two running backs for the Battlehawks. Matt Jones was in full participation, but he's still on the injury report. Not saying questionable or anything. As well as Christine Michael. He was full participation, but he had an illness nearly all week. Hopefully, it's not the coronavirus. By the way, make sure you guys take care of yourself. Just be careful. Be careful. That coronavirus is serious. Moving down to the Tampa Bay Vipers and the LA Wildcats game. S.J. Green, who has yet seen the field for the Vipers wide receiver. He was limited in practice with the knee. Davion Smith, running back, limited participation with the foot. Nick Truesdale, tight end for the Vipers. He was full participation with the knee. It looks like he's probable, which is a good thing. And the Wildcats, Nelson Spruce did not participate. They don't have him listed as out or anything, which is interesting. Let me go to Draftkings right quick. Well, on Draftkings it shows he's out, and it says Spruce won't play Sunday against the Vipers, according to Gilbert Manzano of Orange County Register reports. So it's conflicting news right there. As I mentioned before last week, how XFL needs to improve on their data as far as who's in and who's out. The inactive report, after I found that, that was good. But as far as updates, they need to make sure they keep these things updated, so we know when's the last time it was updated. Also, let's see, as far as more on the injury report, let me go down just a moment. Okay, Martez Carter, running back from the Wildcats. He was limited participant. Mr. Excitement. Chad Kenoff, quarterback, shoulder, limited to practice. Brandon Barnes, tight end, knee, full practice participant. Josh Johnson, he got a Q tag all week again because I think he's still done with that injury. But he was a full participant in practice with the thigh still. And running back, full participation was Larry Rose, who's been on the Q tag all week as well. All right, so what I'm going to do right now is make sure that I provide you my picks for the week at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, or flex. I'm so used to NFL. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, flex spot, and defense that you may want to consider playing in your lineups this week. So, so let me just pull up that list right now so you can see what I have and see if those are guys that you feel that's legit or just give you confirmation of what you already been thinking about, and you can go from there and decide if you want to put them in your lineups. So first I have as quarterback is Jordan Ta'amu. As you guys already saw, they got 3 running backs that made it on the injury report, and Jordan Ta'amu is a mobile quarterback versus DC Defenders, who's not looking well after facing a weak offense on week 1 and week 2, Seattle Dragons and New York Guardians. Let me just rephrase that a little bit. The Defenders are not looking well as a team, period. The receivers aren't running the routes the right way. Quarterback, Cordell Jones throwing him under the bus. Like I said, with DeAndre Thompkins being his roommate, he didn't care if he was mic'd up on TV. He just called him out. And it's going to be a snowball effect when you got an offense that is a mess and a defense is not going to get much time off the field to rejuvenate for the rest of the game. It's just going to set them back to where Jordan Ta'amu can probably do whatever he wants, whether it's throwing or running the ball. Like I said, with Matt Jones, Christine Michael already on the injury report, it might cause the Battlehawks just to rely on Jordan Ta'amu to run the ball a lot. He's a dual threat. and going against the second worst run defense in the league, the defenders. Like I said, he can do what he wants on that field, and I'm going to just love having him in my lineup, especially if one of those running backs that's currently on a Q tag end up inactive before game lock. As far as him throwing the ball, it was a huge improvement from coming out of week 3. So I'm also going to be stacking him with one of his wide receivers, and I'll get to that in a moment. But Jordan Ta'amu, he completed 20 of 27 passes for 264 yards with the touchdown, no interceptions, 63 rushing yards on 16 attempts. He threw the ball for a 2-point conversion as well in week 4. This is going to definitely be my quarterback for my main lineup on Draftkings for week 5. Moving on to running back, Dallas Renegades. They're going to continue to rely on the running game with Lance Dunbar, Cameron Artis-Payne a lot. And Lance Dunbar being the cheaper of the two, he's the one I'm going to be selecting in my main lineup. Last week he got 48 yards rushing with 1 touchdown on 9 carries. Although in week 4 he only caught the ball twice on both targets, he's the reception leader for running backs in his league. And with quarterback Philip Nelson starting the game for injured Landry Jones, his usage just might skyrocket even more. If you look at week 1, Nelson targeted Dunbar 6 times and he caught all 6 passes in the game. It didn't allow him to get a huge amount of fantasy points, but 6 for 6 receptions says a lot when he can somehow make 1 or maybe 2 of those cross the end zone in the upcoming game. Moving on to wide receiver. As I mentioned, I'm going to be stacking with Jordan Ta'amu, my quarterback, one of the receivers, and that's going to be Demarius Pearsonell. Last week, Demarius Pearsonell caught all 5 of his targets for 71 yards and a touchdown. In week 3, Demarius, he only got 3 targets, but he caught all 3 too. And I'm just looking at the consistency. He only missed 2 targets in week 2. And by the way, that was the only targets he missed all season, catching 9 out of 11. Week 1, he went 4 for 4. So I believe that he can get positive production against these DC defenders that recently have not been defending anything. All right, moving now to my flex. And I just want to say, I got to stop the music. One thing I didn't mention on the recap that was hilarious. You want it? I'm going to give it to you right now. And the only way you get that is if you actually watch football on TV. I'm talking about Winston Moss, the LA Wildcats head coach. It was funny as hell how these guys are mic'd up, and you can hear everything. I hear cuss words constantly. Get your shit off the field and blah blah blah. And man, I'm like, damn, these dudes many. They many as heck, man. But yeah, the LA Wildcats head coach Winston Moss. If you didn't get that reference, like I said, you probably don't watch the game and only rely on Excel spreadsheets, YouTube, podcasts, and optimizers to hopefully take a takedown on DraftKings or FanDuel. But if you watch the game, you know what I'm talking about. Oh boy, mic'd up on 4th and 2. Camera got on him at the right time as he shouted, "You want it? I'm gonna give it to you right now." The commentators, they assumed that he was just saying that because he was making a risky play on 4th and 2 and throwing down the field to my flex wide receiver, Jordan Smallwood. My assumption was Jordan Smallwood wanted the ball a bit more, so he was going to give it to him. But hey, I can be wrong with my assumption. They could be right. But my flex position, however, is going to be Smallwood. If he caught that ball, man, that would have been great. But unfortunately, he didn't. It was a pass interference. They got them down the field a little bit further to where the next play they got a touchdown by Blacknell. when it should have been Smallwood. Shit happens. But yeah, one of the Guardians secondaries had interfered with the catch, so Smallwood unfortunately didn't get that catch on 4th and 2. But it was all good. It was comedy just for that little moment by Winston Moss, who's a hilarious coach, man. He's an asshole at the same time, I think, too. But Jordan Smallwood, that's who I'm going to have at flex. He caught 5 of his 7 targets, even though he missed that one. He got 75 yards, which is the most he's reached all season. And since Nelson Spruce is injured, along with the Wildcats releasing Levante Whitfield earlier this week, there will be no need for him to have a squeaky wheel and beg for Winston Moss to throw on the ball, because he's going to be opened up for a lot more opportunities when you got 2 missing wide receivers on their roster. They currently got an open spot too on their roster, so you never know, they might try to bring in another wide receiver soon. Finally, last but not least, I have defense. Houston Roughnecks. It appears to me that Seattle Dragons are going to play both quarterbacks, Brandon Silvers and BJ Daniels, and I don't think either do that well. What's funny is some folks really hyping up BJ Daniels like he's a good play this week, only because he has running ability and threw for 1 touchdown. But look at how inaccurate he is when throwing the ball. Then look at the last week's game where the Roughnecks faced 2 other inaccurate quarterbacks. That game ended with 3 interceptions, 2 defensive recoveries, and 1 sack. So if BJ Daniels is going to be chalk in those $10 GPPs on Draftkings, I'll happily play Houston Roughnecks defense and get different from everybody else and take all the money. So that's what I have for you guys this week. As I said, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment below, and make sure that you share who you putting in your lineups. Let me know if it's the same guys that I'm considering, or if you're looking at something completely different. If maybe you like a BJ Daniels, or maybe you can give me an argument point to change my mind about that. But what I have so far is Jordan Ta'amu or Tiamo, I don't know how to say his name. Everybody say it different. But Jordan Ta'amu from the St. Louis Battlehawks, that's my quarterback. At running back, I got Lance Dunbar, Dallas Renegades. DeMarne Pearsonell from the St. Louis Battlehawks, wide receiver, stacking up with Jordan Ta'amu. At my flex, I got Jordan Smallwood, wide receiver for the LA Wildcats, and at defense, the Houston Roughnecks. So that's it for you guys this week. Hopefully you build those lineups strong, and I see you at the top in the green. And just win, baby. Peace. I'm out.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the 411 Podcast. Now get ready to make that money. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at the 411 DFS.